I've been having this ongoing debate with a friend of mine, let's call him Luther, about certain crimes not always receiving the appropriate punishment. We've been stuck on embattle the former Education Minister Ruel Reid, who is facing fraud and corruption charges for allegedly diverting almost $50 million from the Ministry of Education and Caribbean Maritime University for his personal use. There are other parties facing charges here, but for the purpose of this debate, we've been focusing on Ruel. Note, none of we know Ruel personally to speak on his character or if he took the money or not, but Luther believes Ruel doesn't deserve to be among the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world if he's found guilty. Instead, Luther proposes a more effective punishment: cleaning gullies and trimming bushes. This, he argues, will make Ruel feel isolated from society and remorseful for what he did, a sufficient deterrent for steering clear of future crime. But over so, I want Ruel to go to hard-ass prison should he be found guilty, on the simple basis that, if you can't do the time at prison, don't do the crime. The deterrent for me is Ruel being stripped of his usual luxuries, being violated every day, let your mind run wild where violation is concerned, and not getting preferential punishment because of where he falls in the social hierarchy or what the crime was. Just as Christians argue that a sin is a sin, a crime is a crime. Which brings us to the voice that keeps on giving: Savannah. To many people, Savannah represents the closest they'll get to an angel singing in their ear. She's physically and vocally stunning, she's an overall creative, and she truly has all the makings of a global superstar. But to the loved ones of Ordia Cordiel, Savannah is the person responsible for taking her life in 2021. So, backstory. Savannah, who's a Westmoreland girl, received her driver's license on May 17th. A week later, she was driving along the Scotts Cove Main Road in Westmoreland when her ride collided with another vehicle going in the opposite direction. Ordia was in that vehicle and was admitted to the Black River Hospital after sustaining several injuries. Unfortunately, she died on May 30 and Savannah was charged on June 1. She's been on a $400,000 bail since and pled guilty to the charge on October 31. She may face up to 5 years prison time, which you'll find out come sentencing day on November 17. Even though this tragic incident has nothing to do with any of us, there are mixed feelings across social media on Savannah facing imprisonment. I've always described Savannah as a Jamaican Ariana Grande because of her vocal and live performance skills. And can you imagine Ariana Grande going to prison? That's kind of the undertone on one side of the discussion, because people just can't fathom the sweetness and softness of someone like Savannah being confined to and exposed to the roughness of prison. There is a celebrity element too, which has its pros and cons. Some people believe if it were a taxi man, for instance, he would feel the full brunt of the law, but because it's a celebrity, a woman at that, some people want her to be protected and shown extreme mercy. In my Ninja Man video, several fans commented that they want him to be released, but the father of the victim, Ricardo Trooper, also commented to remind people that, there's a real life element to these situations. His son died. He can't get that back, and it would be unfair for Ninja Man to escape punishment because of his celebrity status. There is a reality that the Jamaican justice system doesn't have the best reputation for being corruption free, so some are predicting that Savannah will just get a slap on the wrist, some community service or a suspended sentence. I support the sentiment that nobody wins in this case. Ordia's family will never get her back, and Savannah will have to live with that reality for the rest of her life. And yes, Savannah is a sweet person. I've interviewed her a few times and interacted with her beyond a journalist, and her whole essence is honest and true. But Savannah is also really self-aware and accountable. Her pleading guilty didn't surprise me regardless of whatever legal counsel she received, because of her very nature. She knows her involvement in what happened, and she isn't avoiding that. Since the incident, Vanna has left Protege's Indignation Collective to start her own label. But I also think part of her decision was perhaps rooted in seeing the end and knowing her fate, and not wanting to draw the Protege and Indignation brands in this unfortunate situation. She's also released the single Low Me, which she said wasn't specifically inspired by the car accident, but just wanting to have a safe space void of bad energies and people who don't mean her soul well. As for how a prison sentence will affect her career, only God knows. Her gift of singing and songwriting will always be there. Her real fans will wait for her, and generally music enthusiasts have been forgiving and welcoming of female stars stars who've done prison time. If we look at Little Kim, Remy Ma, JT from the City Girls, they've done their time behind bars and still have relevance today. They're still doing shows, releasing music, and getting brand deals. Savannah's situation bears uniqueness though, because it will see the first time, if I'm not mistaken, a female Jamaican artist is going to prison if it's her fate. We're more used to our male artists being incarcerated, and we, as a culture, have only strongly advocated for the release of one male artist, Vybz Kartel. The biggest takeaway from this whole situation for me is the reality that this could have happened to anybody, both from Savannah and Ordia's end. And for that, I could never judge, because you just never know until you're actually in the situation. We all have highs and lows in our journey, and this is just part of hers. God makes no mistakes, and there is a lesson and a blessing in every perceived bad situation, every one of them. It's important that we not only recognize that, but take accountability for our actions always. How do you feel about this predicament? Let's talk below. Until next time, be safe, guys. It's a crazier world out there. Treat others how you want to be treated, and show yourself enough grace. Take care.